to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, approximately 18 billion pounds of trash is dumped into the oceans every single year. Hi, my name is Zainab Merchant, and I am here to persuade you to say no to plastic. The world has a plastic pollution problem, and it is snowballing, but so is public awareness and action. Each year, an estimated 18 billion pounds of plastic waste enters the world's ocean from coastal regions. That's about equivalent to 5 grocery bags of plastic trash piled up on every foot of coastline on the planet. All that plastic is causing harm to the creatures that live in the ocean, from coral reefs smothered in bags, to turtles gagging on straws, to whales and seabirds that starve because their bellies are so jammed with bits of plastic that there's no room for real food. New research is emerging about the possible long-term impacts of tiny pieces of plastic on the marine food chain, raising questions about how it might ultimately impact human health and food security. Our appetite for this cheap, durable substance is such that we have produced 9.1 billion tons of plastic to date. Every minute, there is about 1 million plastic bags carried to the seas and oceans. The amount of plastic disposed each year is enough to circle the Earth 4 or 5 times. About 46% of plastic is thrown away in the oceans, and 50% of the plastic we use is only used once before it is thrown away. According to 2 scientific reports released at a United Nations Environment Assembly, the damage done by plastic pollution floating around the world's oceans was estimated to be around $13 billion a year. There is a disturbing chain reaction to plastic pollution because once plastic ends up in a water source, a few things can happen. Plastic can degrade due to solar radiation and oxidation becoming individual molecules. This leads to microscopic plastic fragments, which are absorbed by planktons located deep in the ocean. This then transfers to other organisms from the natural food cycle. For instance, in albatross, there has been a discovery of 97.5% of plastic decomposition in their stomachs. They then return to the islands and regurgitate the plastic and feed it to their young. Plastic pollution is rapidly declining the albatross population every single day. Plastic not only affects ocean life tremendously, but has an impact on humans as well. It can greatly affect the endocrine and immune system, which could lead to cancers, birth defects, and developmental problems in children. It can be a cause of reproductive problems such as abnormal swelling of the thyroid glands. Furthermore, the chemicals in plastics can be transferred from packaged foods into our system. I truly believe that plastics really only become the villain in the way that we as humans use or rather abuse them. The plastic bags that we get at the grocery store, they have been responsible for millions of casualties among sea turtles all over the globe and have an average working life of only 15 minutes. Think about that. Something that you use for only 15 minutes of your day has a lifelong lethal impact. Environmentally, debris impacts a range of marine life globally. The toxicity associated with plastics is twofold, and of all anthropogenic debris in the marine environment, plastics are most profuse, increasing drastically over time in abundance. The threat to wildlife has been immense. Plastic affects birds, mammals, coral reefs, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and every life in the ocean gets affected. Let me give you some information about what a gyre is. A gyre is a place where currents meet and form a whirlpool type system. This forms a meeting place for ocean debris. There are 5 major gyres in the world's oceans today. They all have plastic pollution. However, most of the research is focused only on the North Pacific Gyre. The North Pacific Gyre is approximately twice the size of the United States. It is constantly changing size and shape depending on the season. Due to the circulation of the currents in this area, particularly plastic, debris gets picked up with the currents in this area. Marine debris can be very harmful to marine life in the gyre. For instance, loggerhead sea turtles often mistake plastic bags for jellyfish, or take the albatross that mistakes plastic resin pellets for fish eggs and feeds them to the chicks, which die of starvation or ruptured organs. How do political, cultural, technological, and economic factors determine how the issue is managed? Plastic pollution in the marine environment has increased over the last 30 to 40 years due to the increase in use of plastics and synthetic. It would be difficult to completely ban the use of plastic because of the economic benefits it has in production. Researchers are trying to raise awareness about this issue. However, more needs to be done on the government's part. Without proper funding and awareness in the community, this issue will not go away. The social implication, however, of plastic pollution is that when marine life in the ocean ingests plastic, it enters the food chain. These chemicals are then absorbed into the animal tissue and could potentially make its way into our dinner plates. It is not yet known the full extent of damage these chemicals can cause, as the law only applies for a small number of chemicals. In case of environmental implications, animals mistake the plastic for prey and ingest it, and this can cause blocked digestive tracts, starvation due to full stomach, malnutrition, and potentially death. Marine animals often become entangled in the plastic. Furthermore, there is also the danger of invasion of alien species. But enough of the problems. What about the solutions? Let's watch this clip from the World Research Institution on how to say no to plastic. Aside from cleaning up our oceans, which is a very significant step but not a long-term solution, the best way to address plastic pollution is to change our mindsets and habits with this controversial but nonetheless very useful material. In our zero waste hierarchy, the first step is to reduce. To efficiently reduce plastic pollution, there is an evident need of reducing our usage of plastic. It means changing our everyday behaviors by not using plastic when there is a better alternative to it. Second, plastic may cause pollution when poorly managed, but it has a lot of advantages too, such as being resistant. Many plastic items can be reused for different purposes. Plastic recycling consists of collecting plastic waste and reprocessing it into new products to reduce the amount of plastic in the waste system. One of the crucial solutions is to educate, because education can increase awareness and behavioral change in our communities. There are many smaller ways in everyday life to make a big impact. For instance, manufacturers can limit the size of plastics, take on responsibility of negative results. Governments can implement stricter laws on plastic manufacturers. And as consumers, we can wean ourselves off of disposable plastics, boycott microbeads, invest in fabric bags for shopping trips, boycott the use of plastic straws, say no to single-serve packaging, purchase glass or stainless steel bottles, pack lunch with reusable glass containers, and avoid buying heavily packaged plastic items. Our Earth's surface is covered mostly by water, and not only do oceans produce most of the oxygen for humans to breathe, but they also act as the largest carbon sink as well. Oceans are home to the most biodiversity this planet has, and it is time that we start recognizing the importance of maintaining healthy oceans. Change starts at an individual level and starts with one drop. Everyday changes in our lives is that one drop, not just a single drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. Thank you for being such an attentive audience, and I hope we'll all be able to say no to plastic.